The Civil War was fought between the Union, the northern states that remained loyal to the federal government, and the Confederacy, the southern states that seceded from the Union over the issue of slavery, from 1861 to 1865. The main cause of the Civil War was the slavery issue, which divided the nation into two sections with different economic, social and political interests. The southern states depended on slavery for their agricultural production and wanted to expand it into the new territories, while the northern states opposed slavery and wanted to limit its spread. The Civil War resulted in the abolition of slavery, the preservation of the United States as a single nation, and the death of more than 600,000 soldiers. It also marked a turning point in the development of modern warfare, with the use of new technologies such as railroads, telegraphs, ironclads and rifles. Some of the most famous battles of the Civil War were Gettysburg, Antietam, Shiloh, Chancellorsville, Bull Run and Appomattox Courthouse. Some of these battles were among the bloodiest in American history, with thousands of casualties on both sides. Some of the most famous individuals of the Civil War were Abraham Lincoln, the President of the United States who issued the Emancipation Proclamation and led the Union to victory. Jefferson Davis, the President of the Confederate States who tried to defend the Southern cause. Ulysses S. Grant, the General-in-Chief of the Union Army who accepted the surrender of Robert E. Lee. Robert E. Lee, the commander of the Confederate Army who was respected for his military skills and his sense of honor. And Harriet Tubman, an escaped slave who became a leader of the Underground Railroad and a spy for the Union. How did the Civil War affect women and African Americans? The Civil War had a profound impact on women and African Americans, both in the North and the South. Here are some of the ways they were affected by the war. Women in the North took on new roles and responsibilities in the absence of their husbands, fathers, brothers and sons who went to fight. They worked as nurses, teachers, factory workers, farmers, spies and even soldiers. They also organized relief efforts for the soldiers and the freed slaves through groups like the United States Sanitary Commission. Some of the most famous women who contributed to the Union war effort were Clara Barton, Dorothea Dix, Harriet Tubman and Louisa May Alcott. Women in the South also faced hardships and challenges as they tried to maintain their homes and families amid the devastation of the war. They suffered from food shortages, inflation, raids, violence and disease. They also had to cope with the loss of their slaves, who ran away or were emancipated by the Union Army. Some of the women in the South supported the Confederate cause by sewing flags, making uniforms, smuggling supplies and nursing the wounded. Some of them also resisted the Union occupation by spying, sabotaging or fighting back. Some of the most famous women who supported or opposed the Confederacy were Mary Boykin Chestnut, Rose O'Neal Greenhow, Belle Boyd and Mary Edwards Walker. African Americans in the North saw the Civil War as an opportunity to fight for their freedom and equality. Many of them joined the Union Army or Navy as soldiers or sailors, despite facing discrimination and prejudice from their white comrades. They fought bravely in many battles, such as Fort Wagner, Port Hudson and Petersburg. They also formed their own regiments, such as the 54th Massachusetts Infantry and the United States Colored Troops. Some of the most famous African American men who fought for the Union were Frederick Douglass, Robert Smalls, Martin Delany and William Carney. African Americans in the South experienced a range of emotions and actions during the Civil War. Some of them remained loyal to their masters and mistresses, while others rebelled or ran away. Some of them followed or joined the Union Army as contrabands, laborers, spies or soldiers. Some of them also formed their own communities or maroon colonies in remote areas. They used various strategies to resist slavery and assert their agency, such as malingering, feigning illness, destroying property and escaping. Some of the most famous African American women who resisted slavery during the Civil War were Harriet Tubman, Sojourner Truth, Harriet Jacobs and Elizabeth Keckley. How did the Civil War affect international relations? The Civil War had a significant impact on international relations, both during and after the conflict. Here are some of the ways it affected the global situation. The Civil War divided the world into two camps, those who supported the Union and those who supported the Confederacy. The Union received diplomatic recognition and support from most of the European powers, such as Britain, France, and Russia, as well as from Latin American countries, such as Brazil and Mexico. The Confederacy sought recognition and aid from Britain and France, but failed to obtain it due to their opposition to slavery and their fear of provoking a war with the United States. The Civil War also affected the trade and commerce between the United States and other countries. The Union imposed a naval blockade on the Confederate ports, which disrupted the export of cotton and other goods to Europe and the import of weapons and supplies from abroad. The Confederacy tried to break the blockade by using commerce raiders, such as the CSS Alabama, which attacked Union merchant ships around the world. The Union also faced trade disputes with Britain over the Trent Affair, in which 2 Confederate diplomats were seized from a British ship by a Union warship. The Civil War also influenced the development of international law and humanitarianism. The Union and the Confederacy both agreed to abide by the Lieber Code, which was a set of rules for the conduct of war drafted by a German-American legal scholar named Francis Lieber. Thank you for watching History by AI, where we explore the past with the help of artificial intelligence. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share and subscribe for more fascinating insights into history. And don't forget to hit the bell icon to get notified when we upload new videos. We hope you learned something new today, and we'll see you next time on History by AI. Bye for now.